Anna's Watchlist. I'm your host, Pete Mitchell, and we're here today for We Interrupt Regular Programming, our TV podcast. On today's show, we have Curb Your Enthusiasm, Regime, and we look at the Disney Plus show in Australia, Shogun. But before we begin, I'm going to tell just listeners today, no pictures, because I'm actually away seeing films for the French Film Festival in Sydney for our podcast later in the week, What's Next? So just available on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube audio today. Like, follow, subscribe to all our channels. Don't forget to hit the notification button and you'll get great content like this one. On the channel this week, we are reviewing King Kong vs. Godzilla. We're also looking at Kung Fu Panda 4, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and we're going to look at some of the French films I've seen that part of the French Film Festival here in Sydney. We've also got movie news, and this week on the AFI Top 100, our first silent movie on the list is Sunshine, so it should be a great week on the channel. Let's get on to the show, and let's start with Curb Your Enthusiasm. So we are up to episode 9, only a couple episodes to go, and this week the episode starts with Larry getting a massage. It's going sort of okay. She keeps mentioning Cheryl and mentions Ted, how good he is, saying that Larry's skin's so dry that he needs to eat and drink better. And then suddenly she finishes, and then Larry goes, anything else? And then she misconstrued it as happy ending, but Larry was saying, no, it's only 35 minutes. And then she storms out because she doesn't give happy endings. And then that gets back to Cheryl, who also uses a masseuse, and Larry gets into trouble. He goes to this cafe and has lunch with the boys, and they're talking about the masseuse going wrong, and then the owner comes across, says, how is everything? They say everything's great, and then suddenly the health inspector comes in and changes the notice on the restaurant, going from an A health code to a C. So the boys stop eating straight away and they leave. Larry is trying to do up his jacket, and then a director that used to work on young Larry comes across and says, have you read the book that he gave? And gets into a sort of like a verbal conversation with him, and Leon's trying to say, come on Larry, and then sort of Larry tries to get out of it and inadvertently says that Leon's got herpes, and and Leon's not very happy with that. And so he says to the guy that I'm going to read the book and I'll give you a call. Larry gets in the car. Leon's just given to him about how he's a feeble now with the zipping of jackets, and Larry, you need to improve that. Then Larry goes over to Jeff and Susie's house. They talk about the incident with the masseuse, also that the fact that Bruce Springsteen wants to meet Larry, so because of the Atlanta thing, and then so Jeff organises a meetup with Bruce Springsteen for Larry, having lunch with Susie and Jeff. And so Larry comes up with a great idea to invite the masseuse to try and make up for her so he doesn't get in trouble. Because Larry's got a new lawyer who is African-American, trying to help him with the case. Leon's trying to crack on to the African-American lawyer, which is very funny. And so Larry meets with Bruce Springsteen, and they're talking, and it's really funny. Bruce Springsteen is really funny in this episode. The banter that they have between him and Larry. They fight over which is their water glass. Larry goes, no, I have this system, that's my water glass. Then Bruce's manager comes in, says hello to Larry. You might not remember me, but I used to work on your show, but I was Kendra back then. And then Larry goes white as a ghost, and Larry used to date Kendra, who has transitioned into a man, Ken, And then Larry says to Jeff and Bruce, I didn't sleep with Ken, I slept with Kendra. No, they're the same person. And it's really, really funny. Bruce has to leave early. The masseuse comes in and it's like just a glancing hello. And then she's really unhappy with him. And so Larry gets in trouble. The next morning, Larry wakes up and he has COVID. So he has to go around and call everyone, but it's too late to call Bruce Springsteen because he has cancelled one of his shows in LA. Everyone is now blaming Larry because Bruce Springsteen said that Larry drank out of his water and they shared water and had given him COVID. So on the Today Show, everyone was saying that it's Larry's fault that Susie's giving in to Larry as well, saying that he might have lost his voice, he won't be able to do the farewell tour. He's getting in trouble from the masseuse as well. Larry's going around and calling everyone saying, okay, I've got COVID, you're going to have to quarantine. He ends up talking to the masseuse and saying, look, I'll introduce you to Bruce Springsteen again. Larry is free of COVID the next day, goes over to Jeff and Susie's house. Susie has got COVID. Jeff doesn't. He's living on the first floor. He's loving life. He goes over to Bruce Springsteen's house with the masseuse, but he has to hide underneath the back seat because all the fans are outside. Larry goes to try and get the masseuse into Bruce Springsteen's house. Bruce is going, what are you doing here? I've got COVID. He's outside the window. You gave it to me. And so Larry's taking a photo of the masseuse in front of the thing, trying to get the perfect shot. And then Ken comes out, ushers Larry away, and then the crowd attacks Larry's car and they're driving away. You got the cafe owner comes back into it because Larry sees that he has changed the thing back to an A. Larry confronts him. He says, hey mate, you have changed it. You need to be C. He goes, no, it's because of one of our workers is sleeping with other female staff on the floor, and that's what got a bad grade. And this all goes back to Larry sleeping with Ken/Kendra back in the day, that he used to sleep on the floor, make love to her on the floor, and the reason why Larry would do it was because Larry doesn't like talking or cuddling afterwards, and he can get up and go home. But it turns out he was doing that with Cheryl as well, so it all falls apart. And then the restaurant owner says, I want to meet this guy that, who would not cuddle after you have slept with somebody. It's me. And Larry wants to meet that guy. He says, this guy and I would be best friends. Larry hasn't gone through the whole list of people that he needs to tell that he had COVID or well, because he hasn't finished the book of that director from that on Young Larry. That guy goes on a retreat. He's kissing everyone, hugging everyone, and Larry still hasn't told him. Larry calls him, but the guy's already hung up his phone, and that's where the episode ends. This is a really funny episode. The bits with Bruce Springsteen's manager, Bruce Springsteen, Jeff, and Larry are fantastic. Leon, with this episode, where he's trying to hook up with the black lawyer, it calls it a hit and run. It's just really funny. I absolutely love this episode, and just knowing the fact that this show's finishing soon is such a. It's not going to be the same. I know you used to get seasons every 2 years, but it was something to look forward to. So that's Curb Your Enthusiasm. A couple more to go. 3 more to go. Let's move on to Regime. We're episode number 5. Last week we were with the Chancellor and Corporal Herbert. They were hooking up on the desk. And so this episode is all about all the rebels are getting closer and closer to the palace. So they're trying to liberate the country. and it starts off with like 23 k's away from the palace, and then just moving closer and closer. You get all the ministers trying to say to the Chancellor that you need to change your policies, you need to come clean, you need to make sure that this is, you need to go back on your word and, create a free trade deal with the US as well, go back to the Cold War position to get money back into the country. She refuses to do so. The corporal and her are seeing a dream therapist, and the dream therapist is just trying to really be on the Chancellor's side, where, trying to change his habits in the bedroom, like not biting, not choking. And then you get a lot of the Chancellor and the corporal, screwing each other. You get the offsider, Agnes, who is her son. She has been told that she needs to get out of the country, and they need to go to Paris, and so they can flee to America. You get the ex-husband, the current husband, Nicholas. He is being told you need to stay away because the corporal and her are hooking up constantly. The ministers are all backstabbing. They go into this bar and they drink heavily. The corporal is worried that they're screwing him over. The Chancellor's going to get rid of him as well. He's so insecure. She's trying to sort of keep him from doing some stuff. He's trying to keep her from doing stuff. Then finally that she's going to resign, and the corporal's going to take the blame, it looks like. And then she refuses to resign. The rebels are at her gate now, and they're going to take over the palace. They storm the palace. She has to leave. They look like they're getting in the helicopter. The ministers stop her from getting in the helicopter. They call her some rude names. And so she and the corporal are getting attacked, and he's storming out with the troops to try and get her out. So that's where it ended, and we've only got one more episode to go. Funny episode, like the corporal and the Chancellor's relationship, and then you got the relationship of the ministers, how they're snivelling, and now they're sort of screwed her over. It's some really funny stuff. I'm actually really enjoying the show. Stephen Frears, Will Tracy have created a really good show here, and I'm really liking it. Will Tracy's worked on some great shows like The Menu, Succession, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. So yeah, he's got that HBO background. I really enjoyed The Menu. It was one of my favourite movies of 2022. So yeah, so that is The Regime. So we've got one more episode to that, and we'll catch that next week. The next show that we're going to talk about is Shogun. It's had a few episodes on Disney Plus. We're up to, it's a 10 episode first season. We're up to episode 7 this week. Drops Wednesdays, and you can catch it on Disney Plus in Australia, and you can get it on FX, which is /Hulu in the States. Now this show is about Japanese lords, emperors. You get a boat coming from Portugal that is shipwrecked on a outpost in Japan. They've got a really good relationship with the Portuguese Catholics, but then you've got the English Protestants who trying to get into the sort of Japanese market as well. This show stars Hiroki Sanada, who's been in so many great movies. He was in that Mortal Kombat remake. Cosmo Jarvis, he plays the English guy that is shipwrecked. He was in Persuasion last year on Netflix. And then you get Tanada Asano, who was in Battleship. He was in the Thor movie. Heaps of great Japanese movies as well. He was in that. He was also in Mortal Kombat as Lord Raiden, but he was also as in Kate, the movie with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's now married to Ewan McGregor. He was in that movie as well, and that movie is really fantastic. You can get that on Netflix at the moment now. Just watching the first few episodes of this, and the first episode is really good. It's fast paced. The second episode's a bit slower, but then out of nowhere you get a violent scene. You can see the backstabbing between the families in Japan. You're getting a lot of history here. You're getting the Protestant Catholic sort of vibe between the Portuguese and the English. I'm actually really liking this show. It's heavily subtitled. That really works for me. I like shows that actually are in the native language, and this really works for me. One of the sort of pirate ship guys, Nesto Carbonani, he was in the Dark Knight as the mayor, and Dark Knight Rises as the mayor, and he's really, really fantastic. This show is created for television by Justin Marks, and Justin Marks worked on the story for Top Gun Maverick. He also did the screenplay for The Jungle Book. He's got some great writing credits there too. This is based on a classic novel by James Clavell. He wrote the screenplay for The Great Escape. He also did To Serve and Love. Shogun was a TV show, storytelling movie. It starred Richard Chamberlain and some great Japanese actors, which came out in the 70s/80s, and it was well renowned at the time. I saw that, but I really like this. I really enjoy this. It's highly enjoyable. I am going to stay right to the end and watch Shogun, which is now on Disney+. That is it for today's show. Now, next week, we're going to recap the end of New Look. The last episode drops this week, and so we'll go through those episodes. We'll also continue to look at Regime, which is the last episode, and continue to look at Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is coming towards the end as well. Thanks everyone for listening today. No viewing on YouTube, but you can just get that audio, and we've got a great lot of movies to recap here on What's Next. So it should be some fun stuff this week. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. And until tomorrow, when we catch up for What's Next, the show where we help you figure out what to watch next with the great Hannah, it's bye for now.